We've traversed the tombs of Naxxramas. We've climbed every cliff on Black Rock. Now the world cries out for heroes. As a new evil rises, there will be danger. There will be doom. There will be ancient temples filled with relics, treasures, and traps. Who will answer the call?
Explorers lead, and we are in need of explorers. Adventure we seek, cross land and sea. Won't you come and join us?
Oh, yes!
Welcome back, everybody, to StarLadder Finals. I'm not completely prepared. I apologize.
It's all right. I know you were taking a nap. It's cool.
That's right, man. You sold me out again, Noxious. I was literally asleep 5 seconds ago taking a nano nap, as we like to call it. Welcome back, everybody. It's time for our last match of Group B, where we are going to see who advances to the final day of elimination here at the StarLadder Finals. We've had a good time. Even the crowd, man, they've been really engaged, and I'm really excited to see how this ends up happening because we've had a lot of action today so far.
Yeah, I mean, what I find really cool is that, number one, people are engaged, and the players as well seem to be enjoying themselves. Like, they're all kind of chilling in the back room when they're not playing their games.
Yep.
And Cifka, with the win that he got just now, actually has a chance now to maybe cause a three-way tie if he ends up losing this, right?
I'm looking at the standings right here. We can go ahead and pull it up in just a second, but we're once again in a situation where we might have a three-way tie depending on how things go. But for now, we've had a lot of action. It's going to wind down to whether or not Cifka wins. If he does, I believe Jab has a chance of going through because of game score. Right now, we have 2 players who I think are definitely feeling like they're going to go in. If they win, whoever wins this match will go through, and then Surrender will go through. We'll find out more, but for now, we're going to toss the highlights, showing you what's happened on our road to get here in Group B.
That isn't BGH spot.
Drake for BGH here. No, doesn't find it.
Well played.
Very close game. Infi was looking very strong at the start, but Robin, he brought it back.
I think you just YOLO Living Roots to face for swag.
And he has combo. He just has everything.
Yeah, to sum up, he probably has enough damage to win.
And there we go. So Roy, again, is going to take another victory here. 4-2, moving into the finals.
Yeah, I think it's enough without Living Roots. It's been 21, 22, 23, 24, isn't it, without Living Roots?
And Love CEX, unfortunately, is going to be knocked out of the tournament. He did fight very hard to get back into this series. And Robin, after some shaky Druid games, will be able to take this. And he will be moving on.
Voidcaller runs in, procs all the secrets, then you've got nothing. Yeah, and that's not it.
No, and that is it. So, yeah, Robin takes it. He clutches it out. And Overcast.
Yeah, Live Burst, Doom Hammer, Crackle.
All
that, and that's going to be it. Wow. Okay.
Oh, man. What a way to lose to aggro Shaman. And that was, Robin catching his breath there, but he's happy with his victory. And Robin is your second qualifier for the StarLadder and I-League.
So Lanshengzhe there, you can see defeating a lot of players. He came from I-League, which is a highly competitive tournament happening in China with hundreds of players. And to qualify through that is kind of like, again, winning a dream hack or do something really difficult. 200-plus players is a really competitive tournament, no matter how many people sign up, just because the field is really difficult, right? If you have a 55, 60% chance, even like 62, 63 for the top players, that's still really difficult to overcome. So a job well done to Lanshengzhe. But his job's not done yet. He has to beat StanCifka to guarantee himself a top 3 finish. But if not, then he loses here. Say he loses 0-3. I don't even think he goes through.
I think it's just unfortunate in a spot like this that we would not get any Chinese players in the top 6, because that would mean that the two of them actually got knocked out.
Right.
Xiaobu yesterday going out from the Group A. That would be a little sad.
It is sad because these guys, they dedicated their entire time away from the main tournament in Gold League. Gold League is like the way you get points in ladder. And the reason why is because, the main points you get in the World Championships for BlizzCon.
Yeah, HWC, exactly.
The reason why is because ladder doesn't count for many points for Chinese reasons. I don't want to bring it up on broadcast, but they reduce the points a lot. And so the only way you can get points is through tournaments. And they give up that tournament, the one that gives the most points and the only points really, in order to play this event, because they dedicate themselves to, they gave up their seeds to play in this event instead. And as such, if they give up their main spot to potentially qualify for BlizzCon to try and go for gold here, and yet they don't even advance to the round of 6 to the single elimination playoffs, it's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah,
for them,
it feels a little. I mean, I think it's happened to a few Chinese players who came over to Western tournaments so far.
Right.
It's not the first time it would happen. I'm hoping it doesn't. I mean, in this spot, but again, it's someone has got to go, right?
The hurdle to overcome as well. You know, the travel logistics,
Yeah.
being able to come over here for such a long travel flight time.
Deal with the
it's
Chinese
really tough.
people as well. You know, the Chinese players who will bash you, even just the viewers, really.
They're pretty mean, man.
Yeah.
You think I know a lot of people always give grief to Twitch chat, but
They're nothing.
if you think they're bad,
Yeah.
I would encourage you to venture beyond the borders to some of those other streams in Chinese, if you can understand it. They are pretty brutal.
So, looks like StanCifka's Priest is finally going to get some time in the light,
Yeah.
because he did get
Wow.
banned 2 times in a row. So
That is a freeze mage ban.
yeah,
which
freeze
is-
mage ban. So aggro from Lance. I think it makes a lot of sense considering what we know he's playing. Doesn't want to face off against any Reno any more than he has to, at least. And there's a
Interesting.
Warlock already.
Yeah, it's interesting because he has 2 decks which are good against freeze mage, so it's not like freeze mage would completely get a free win. Aggro Shaman and Druid are 2 excellent classes, or decks rather, against the mage. Shaman's not always traditionally very good against freeze mage, but that version is. And then the Warlock, he plays a Zoo Warlock.
Zulok, I think this is kind of a toss-up, depending on how your curve comes out, the eggs, the positioning, when the board wipes come up. But, you know, StanCifka's list also has a lot less AoE removal. You have only 1 Blizzard, 1 Flame Strike, which means Doomsayer is kind of your saving grace. And if that doesn't come on time, then it doesn't matter whether or not you get Reno at any point.
I think the Zulok is going to be the key to the series, whether or not he can grab a win with it. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. In the meantime, we're going to kick things off with the aggressive Shaman versus the Secrets Paladin from StanCifka. And once again, we're mentioning that the reason you bring something like this deck of Shaman is to kill the Secret Paladin deck, which hasn't been performing as good as people might expect it to be. I'm even looking at a couple of other events that are happening simultaneously, and players are reporting very average to below average win rates. Some people have even brought Secret Paladin and haven't gotten a single win in the tournament with it.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, you know, for a while, I'm not going to take the exact, it's not an exact analogy, but let's say Face Hunter, for a while it was complained about a lot, but in tournament settings, it didn't do nearly as well as people expected.
All right, well, we're going into game number 1 with a very good curve here for Cifka. Lanshengzhe has an average curve.
Well, never mind.
That was really huge.
Yeah, I think this top deck on its own just redefined the way this game was going to go.
Right, because I was going to say, the aggressive Shaman is completely dependent on its turn 1 and 2 play against Paladin. If you concede the board, then you're just in big trouble. But the fact that he got the ideal turn 1 and turn 2 is just huge, because now he can really pour in the damage. Like, he can get away with playing this Ancestral Spirit.
Lava Shock's right around the corner. The double Doom Hammer, not so good to have 2 of them already in hand, but it is, again, guaranteed burst for the future. Double Cog Hammer from StanCifka. What's up with that? What is up with that?
So, what Coghammer excels at is when you have early game board control and
Like
you're able
this.
to leverage Divine Shields and your own health pool as a way to gain board control and snowball it to a victory. The second Coghammer, though, it's hard to say, because usually you run 1 Coghammer because you have so many weapon charges that you want to be attacking with anyways, that it's going to be difficult to weave in this, plus a True Silver, plus Tyrion if you get to it, plus Muster for Battle.
Yeah, but it's interesting to think about, because we saw Jab bring Argent Protector, which means I think the value you're looking for in the Cog Hammer is the Divine Shield. Perhaps the Argent Protector for Jab is trying to accomplish the exact same thing. This is a perfect hit for that Cog Hammer, because he gets to trade with the 3-4 without losing the mini-bot, and the 1-1s also don't risk getting Earth-shocked in the Hunt Creeper.
Second Coghammer most likely won't be that useful outside of Divine Shield and the Taunt. I think the Taunt is
A big deal
super
as well.
important.
Yeah.
Because it absorbs the Doom Hammer for 1 turn. But what's really painful is it's turn 3 and Cifka is almost at half-life.
Yeah. This is kind of the trademark of aggro shaman, which is they just put stuff down, you respond to it, but that's the problem, is you're only responding to it. You're not getting any health in the process. And Secret Paladin is notorious for being the only Paladin deck without any health gain outside of True Silver. Pretty much one of the only ones.
You say that, Noxious, but today on Ladder I ran into a Secret Paladin who played Lay on Hands. And Dog was sitting next to me just chuckling like, yep, they do anything.
But
they'll do anything.
I know, right?
It's like,
I ran into one that had like heal bots, and I was beyond surprised. I was like, okay, Belcher I can see, but heal bot, like what's up with that?
I was tilting, man. I was playing Dragon Priest, and I was like calculating my burst just enough to finish it with Blackwing Corruptor, and it was just like, nah, not you too, Lay on Hands.
You haven't tilted until you faced off against the Priest with double heal bot and Kazan Mystic, like Jab did yesterday.
Well, you know, with Cifka running 2 Cog Hammers, once again, tech is completely flexible. That's a great card, I think, because
I like it.
One of the things that you have to figure out is how you can win, right? We always pull out this question. Nimsh isn't here right now, but he usually whips out the question, how do you win from this position?
Yeah.
And that is one of the ways you can. You can tag a Blessing of Kings onto a token, and then you can add a Coghammer Divine Shield guarantee the following turn, making it really difficult for your opponent to get through. That said, Lanshengzhe has 2 silences in this deck, 1 Earth Shock and 1 Ironbeak Owl.
The taunt is really something you want to be getting out, just because of the fact that the way, this is act as a pseudo taunt. One of the problems you have against Shaman is that they do play the Horse Riders, which is a really big issue because they don't seem like much, but when you think they can't possibly come out with burst that you have to reply to that is on the board, then they pull that out. And that's really difficult to handle.
Okay, so Cifka goes for a slower approach.
Yeah, puts more damage over time, but less as burst, I guess you could say. And forces Lightning Storm.
But now Coghammer, I mean, we already know that there's silence, but if his plan was to set up Coghammer this turn, it definitely has become more complicated with how things go. Cifka pulling at his eyes, looks like he's a little bit fatigued. I think we all are. It's approaching midnight here.
Yeah, he was telling me actually, like the game we just played prior to the match, he didn't really focus too much in the Freeze Mage versus Tempo Mage because he thought it's so lopsided in my favor. I don't have to focus, and then he didn't and lost. So he is tired. He mentioned it, and I hope for him that it won't play in too much here. I don't know. I feel like Rock Biter Weapon, Crackle. There's a lot of outs for Lanshengzhe here just to burst through this little 1-1. Wow.
Yeah, see, this is what's really interesting. He's taken a line where this Blessing of Kings could have hit a couple of turns in a row, but he's favoring a more spread out dominant board position. So if cards like Argent Horse Rider came out and started hitting him in the face, he actually is much better equipped to deal with it. Lanshengzhe going for the silence play, going to start whacking the face. He is going to be a couple points off lethal next turn.
It's going to be 1 off, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because the Lava Burst plus Doomhammer will be 9, and he's exactly 1 off. The Challenger coming out brings out the Noble Sack, which again prevents a few hits from, 1 hit from going through, that is. And then it also puts more damage out from StanCifka.
The thing about Cifka's line, though, is that he's built up such a big, powerful board for Mysterious Challenger that maybe a single competitive spirit threat can end the game on turn 7 for him.
Right. Maybe that's actually the reasoning. He thought that there would be no point where he would actually see beyond that. So it makes a lot of sense.
I mean,
it's consistent.
How do you develop Blessing of Kings in the following turns if you do that? So I like it. Venge's rather inconsequential draw. It's certainly going to be the Mysterious Challenger to push to end the game here. And with that, can Lanshengzhe end the game? Oh, not to mention there is the
Rockbiter, Double Burst. There's a few cards, Crackle even.
Right, but I believe Noble Sacrifice will also stop one of those cards.
Yeah. So there's a few outs in Lanshengzhe's deck. Does he find one? No. Wait, that is 5 damage. That is it, I think. No, he's 1 off.
No,
he actually triggers an
Abusive
Sack.
Sergeant.
Right.
The Abusive Sergeant's enough. So I mean, he can mess this up. Like, let's be real. If for some reason he just completely spaghettied and played Argent Horse Rider with the Abusive First in attack, he would have messed it up. But
that would be bad.
That is enough damage there.
Yeah, he has
with
to absorb
exact
this.
mana.
And then it's eye for an eye. No, it doesn't matter.
Eye for an eye doesn't matter. There was a scenario earlier today where I was saying, yeah, like imagine eye for an eye was brought out here. It would have been so nasty.
I wish this 2-1 had taunt, just to make my life more miserable on ladder. And
Noble
he will not
sacrifice.
miss it. Yeah, just
Summon a random tournament attendee.
So summon a tournament attendee.
Gosh. You are a true masochist, but then again, you play Hearthstone. So we're going to go into game number 1 with a victory for our China player. And StanCifka is going to have to
I mean, he's looking at his monitor
start the
like...
series with a disadvantage here.
Yeah, it is a big disadvantage too, but you know, Shaman is in this exact series. I think it was almost guaranteed to get a win, considering the lineup of Stan. It seemed like it was favored, so nothing unexpected.
Sure. Yeah, I mean the aggro Shaman's pretty good against the Priest as well.
Right.
What's the third deck again? Is it?
There's the Warlock from the Reno Lock from StanCifka,
Yeah,
which
that
also
one's-
can get bursted down sometimes if things don't line up.
Yeah, that one, in the case, I heard you talking about in the previous series, it's much more like if you have a Reno Jackson or not.
Yeah.
The game is often decided by the full heal.
Yeah, it's like, do you heal from 5 to 30 or do you die?
Yeah, you know, Healbot and Farseer and all those things help a little bit, but you want a little bit more. Let's go into game 2. We see a Priest appearance. Now, Priest is in a very interesting spot. Many theorize that Control Priest, which is what we see here, is a couple of cards away from being a very dominant deck because you have so many good tools at your disposal. Entomb has really bolstered its mid to late game of dominance because it's not only removal, but it's also, you know, adding one card away from fatigue. It's also utilizing another threat. So in many ways, it's kind of like another Sylvanas in your deck.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like a 3-for-1 when you actually get the full roster of it.
Right. However, it's the same scenario as before, where Priest has to choose how to assess the metagame. If you play Thought Steals, you're not playing Death Lords, and generally that's the trade-off. Yeah. And that means you're much more susceptible to aggro, which happens what your opponent likes to play here. Like, he's not playing the Control Warriors or the Reno Jacksons. Your opponent's playing aggro Shaman and, Zoo.
Secret Paladin and Zoo. This thing, however, that will solve a lot of problems sometime in the mid-game. We want to point out the Ragnaros here in the Secret Paladin list. It is a card that, is added to the array of Tyrion, Rag, Dr. Boom. It comes out as the second BGH target against many decks. And it also threatens a lot of decks that you otherwise don't win against. Something like Rogue has trouble with Rag. Something like Freeze Mage as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's the first thing that sticks out to me is the Freeze Mage matchup. Yeah. This is so big, the fact that Paladin didn't have a turn 2 play and that Noshak Cleric will stay alive. Excavated Evil, one of those new cards as well from League of Explorers that people weren't sure on. They wanted to think it was cool because of the implications of how it faces off against aggressive decks. So I suppose this is how StanCifka does a halfway split, right? He's playing Thought Steals, but he has Excavated Evil, so he's not too greedy.
Yeah, I think Excavated Evil is, like, if your goal is merely to get people off the board, better than Nova, but it's got less of that, I can survive against hyper aggro feel to it. It's also sometimes a dead draw when aggro picks it up from their deck. This is an upside that is unlikely to happen, but it does mitigate the amount of damage you take. So, I don't know, Thought Steal feels like...
What are your thoughts on Shadow Madness in general? Obviously, he can't play it this turn, but I'm just thinking as an inclusion into the deck. What do you think its pros and cons are? Because, I mean, you are by far the Priest expert out of me, Nimshin, and Noxious.
Yeah, I don't know, I feel like Shadow Madness is mostly useful when you're running into a deck, say, that's running like Divine Shields, because you have the mini bot is a great example because you can always ping the Divine Shield first if you have a minion on the board, which happens very often. Then steal the 2/2, smash it into a secret, waste it away. And what's interesting is if there's an Avenge, there's many cases where it doesn't go anywhere because you kill the second minion, and then the Avenge never triggers. So you can waste secrets a little bit with it. But
so you don't like the Shadow Madness?
I like it, but I feel like against Zoo it's amazing. More so I think than against Secret Paladin nowadays. It's good with Pyro, and I have no doubt that StanCifka is playing Pyro.
Almost certainly, that's how he deals with all these small little tokens here outside the Excavated Evil. And with this kind of board, I have to imagine Cifka wants to go for an Akanai Soul Priest clear.
He may just get greedy even further, because you see the Acolyte of Pain in Cifka's list. It's not a very common card to include in Priest, but in Control Priest, it's exceptionally good.
One of the hardest things to evaluate, maybe Shadow Madness is actually
Yeah, this is what I was
okay.
talking about. You know, you ping the
Right.
shield off, and then you get the Madness. This is pretty much the exact scenario, oddly enough.
Okay, there's a lot of Hearthstone science here that I have to ask, because I don't play with Shadow Madness that frequently. So if you Shadow Madness a Knife Juggler, it's not like it summons itself.
No,
or
it
juggles,
doesn't.
Okay.
It's unfortunate. You could MC Tech it, but
Okay. Oh yeah, MC Tech does though. Right?
yeah, because
the battle cry is before the on play effect or something.
It's before, like it's played. It's considered played, and it interacts with cards, but it's not considered like it hasn't triggered the after play effect.
Right. So Mind Control Tech, if it takes the Knife Juggler, does actually toss
Yeah,
the juggle.
weirdly
Okay,
enough.
so those are the really wonky, funky things. One thing that I know Amaz kept telling me when I was playing Priest, and he was giving me some pointers, was that you have to make sure that when you play Akanai Soul Priest and Circle of Healing, that it's the right time. Because a lot of new Priest players feel the need to do it immediately, when you actually do have leeway to do it one more turn later.
And you know, Shadow Madness is exactly the type of card that lets you wait. You were asking me, you know, when to use it, and I feel like Shadow Madness just makes that combo a little bit less gimmicky, because very often, I feel like Akanai's Circle has been this gimmick that Priest has been relying on for too long, and making it consistent is one of the key ways to make Control Priest work, and Shadow Madness helps a lot for that. So,
I mean, the big Akanai plays is for a while was basically Priest's only way to true AoE.
Yeah.
They had Holy Nova and that. Then, you know, Light Bomb came out, and of course now we have Excavated Evil. So Priest has lots of AoE, you know, nowadays. Not to mention the Pyromancer shenanigans that you usually see. Lanshengzhe goes for a Cog Hammer play, really hoping that it doesn't have Cabal Shadow Priest, because that'd be pretty nasty. Oh wait, he doesn't have enough mana for that. I apologize. He plays Acolyted Pain as well. This is really curious.
I really love it. This list is it feels like it's been made to be controlled, because one of the things that Control Priest doesn't have enough of is card draw. Like the Northshire Cleric play that we saw from StanCifka is not a typical opener. As much as I wish it were when I play Priest, it's just the abnormality more so than the rule. So card draw comes in very scarce when you're playing this type of deck.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of card draw onto the board. This is the turn usually for Mysterious Challenger to slam down and really complicate board combat.
But
However, you're starting to hit turns like Light Bomb, which can completely disarm the board anyways.
yeah, and look at that. There's no real clean way to remove this. If you just leave stuff alive, the Northshire draws cards. If you attack the Acolyte, cards are drawn. If you kill a zombie Chow, you're wasting your time. So no matter what you do here, you just don't feel too good as the Paladin player.
Another Acolyte Pain. He plays two.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I mean,
think Control
Acolyte
Priest should have it as an auto-include. I'm surprised more people haven't been playing it.
Acolyte plus, well, because usually you play Injured Blade Master, and you
Right.
have Deathlord / Thoughtsteal, Shadow Word Deaths, and you realize that 3-slot gets really competitive. So it's difficult to always squeeze everything in. But, I really like Acolytes. Oh, wow, Shadow Word Death's going to completely destroy that.
It's going to feel
Mysterious
so
Challenger.
good. It's going to be the best feeling Shadow Word Death has been seen in a while.
And he still has flexibility to draw into something else as well.
Flash heal? Oh! that is possibly
Do you
the
use
best
that
one.
now?
Yeah, I think so, because you draw an extra card from the Acolyte as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I
hard
don't
to say
mind.
no. It's hard to
I don't
decline
know.
this.
It's a complete board clear, which is the biggest part. Usually you have to wait and think, like, how do I deal with Boom afterwards? But Boom is not the biggest problem if your opponent's not pushing for a lethal. And you can just Shadow Word Death and take your time with the Boom bots.
Yeah. StanCifka also, I mean, I'm assuming he's fully aware that there's a Ragnaros in that list.
Yeah.
So that will be worth something. And there goes the Dr. Boomancer with the Wild Pyromancer plus Shadow Word Death.
Oh.
Assuming nothing else does it.
Lanshengzhe gets pretty good card. Shredder is, if you're not going to play Boom or one of those heavy legendary minions, Shredder is one of your biggest minions outside of that.
That's pretty convenient.
Cifka has a lot of Akanai plays.
Yeah, I mean, the Excavate Evil probably won't find much of a better turn. And look at that. The answer to Rag is found, because you can go Akanai, Light of the Naru, Flash Heal. Don't even use Shadow or Death if you don't want to.
I mean, you might use that as finisher.
Absolutely, yeah,
for
just
like
face. Absolutely.
8 damage plus the hero power, so 10.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't really look at Priest as a burst class, but when you have things like Flash Heal and Light of the Naru, I mean, come on.
It adds up. And, you know, it's funny because I saw, like, a custom created card, which was, like, 3 mana, put a Flash Heal in your hand. I'm like, no, don't do that. That can't exist. Custom cards that give Flash Heals.
That's a pretty cool card.
Yeah.
I mean, in the context of the current Hearthstone ecosystem,
It would
maybe
be cool,
not.
yeah.
But.
All right, looks like we're going to see the light come out a little bit
So
earlier.
if a one health minion comes out of the Shredder, that's another full board clear.
And what's cool about this, too, is that the Light of the Naru spawning this little minion here is making everything really scary. Because you have to kill the little 1/1 on the side, which leaves the other 2 to be somewhat protected.
It's in this weird flux state where it's like, well, I want to kill this off because the Light Warden has ridiculous Gimp potential.
Yeah.
Just like if I don't kill it, I die. But then it's like, well, it doesn't actually do anything until I deal with the Akanai, which also makes this hero power insane.
Yeah.
In fact, it's somewhat ironic that there's a Stormwidow Sniper facing the Akanai Soul Priest,
yeah.
because it's almost the same exact function, and everyone always wants to remove the Sniper as soon as possible.
Right. Let's see, if you see Rag, I don't think you expect to keep it. So, I mean, if you play Rag, but there's really nothing else.
It's probably the Ragnaros turn.
Yeah.
You're in a very bad spot. Priest has drawn a lot of cards, which is not really that big of a deal if you're pushing for the lethal, but you're very far away from it. So I think you have to put Rag. Hopefully it hits the 3/4, and then your opponent doesn't have removal for it.
I could see a world in which StanCifka gets Thoughtsteal and plays it before his opponent. That is not what you're looking for.
Yeah. And that means Cifka is going to commandingly seize the board here. He's going to shoot down the 3/2 with the hero power and the Shadow Word Death.
Is there a good turn to Thoughtsteal? I figure you might as well, but the problem is if True Silver comes out, it's not really that big of a deal. I think Thoughtsteal here is really reasonable.
You might pick up some really good cards.
Like Therian.
Or Secrets.
Well, that's good, right?
Those are slightly below average cards. No, those are bad cards. to Thoughtsteal. You're really looking for the Tyrians and Booms.
Yeah.
He
even Challengers 6/6, you know, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But
okay, so again, the Priest is not on he's not an agenda to need to win immediately in the next couple of turns because he can slow play this for a while. That is a Noble Sacrifice and an Avenge, correct?
Yes. So this is pretty good though for the Paladin player. Given that he had almost nothing. Wow. Okay.
Not a bad card.
Yeah, pretty solid. There's so many plays you can make here, and I don't think any of them lose you the game unless you throw intentionally and flash heal your own face right now. Most of these plays lead to a victory.
That's not really throwing the match. That's just straight up like match collusion. Why would you ever do that? In this case, he has to be really careful about the secrets. If one of them had to be Repentance and he played like the Belcher too quickly, he gives up his board state. So he sees that it's Avenge, lands on
flash healable target.
Awkward target. Okay, so suppose you just play the Belcher.
I mean, you could just evil, honestly. Like I mean, you could circle, remove everything,
Oh,
then...
yeah. Maybe Excavate Evil is not too bad here either.
Yeah, it's a bad draw for him, so you could put it in his deck at the same time. But it's
well,
hard.
Ironically, it's like, what if he draws it and just Excavates Evil him whenever he builds the board? Priest does need a board to win
Yeah,
eventually.
they do need to kill you
win off of
eventually.
just hero power and stuff.
But they kill you with your own threats, is what I like about Control Priest. Is they don't play any threats, they just steal yours and punch you down with them.
That is mean. I mean, people always say that despite Hunter and Patron and Secret Paladin, having your card stolen is definitely one of the most frustrating
worst feelings ever, yeah.
I mean, for the past 2 years, people report to Blizzard quite often. This is something that the community managers tell me, that Priest is one of the most complained about classes.
Of course, yeah.
Even to this day. From the very inception of beta of Mind Control being at 8 mana all the way till now, Priest is still one of the top 3, top 4 classes complained about.
I can see why. I mean, I can see why, because it's so frustrating to have your own game plan disrupted, which leads to the whole, never put discard effects in the game that are affecting your opponent. And I do make the mistake of reading the occasional, general forum post.
Like forced to discard on your opponent.
Yeah, forced your opponent
there are
stuff.
discard cards.
Exactly. So it is complained about quite a bit.
All right, well, game number 2 is in the book, so we go into game 3 here. Really cool stuff from that priest deck. Want to see more of it. And in order to see more of it, Cifka needs to win this crucial match here.
So if you're... I would consider keeping this entire hand if I'm... But maybe not, because it's so
Probably
bad
not
if it gets
competitive
defused.
Spirit.
I mean, Secret Keeper coin, Secret Keeper into double Secret is essentially unbeatable, because there's no answer to it unless your opponent has a 1-drop, really.
Well, the really funny thing is if your opponent plays a Secret Keeper, your secrets get much worse because you buff his Secret Keeper.
Do they get that much worse?
Yeah,
you have two of them to his?
It's not that they get that much worse, it's that you're also helping your opponent build his board. And because he goes first, he plays the biggest threat first, which gives him initiative with, muster for battle and whatnot. If you're going for double 1-drop, he chooses to keep everything.
Yeah, I think this is the type of hand you just hope works. And even if the opponent plays a Secret Keeper, you're ahead since yours will benefit from something like Noble Sack and the competitive spirit. He also gets a perfect curve with muster. So,
all right, I think I would prefer to toss away the competitive spirit, because if it becomes a 1/1 buff. Well, I guess 2/2.
I guess you could even kill your opponent's Secret Keeper before you play your 2 secrets, which is even better now that I think about it. You attack
Cifka's going to bump into one of those Secret Keepers probably here.
Well, sure then, because the other one will finish it off, and then double Secret comes out, and StanCifka's in a bad spot.
I think Cifka's also dialed in, and he noticed that his opponent probably... Oh, he didn't choose to do it at all. Maybe it's because he knows that his opponent has kept all of his cards.
Right.
So he's like, well, it has to be
double secret opener, and there we go. Double 3/3s.
And there's no muster for battle for Cifka, which is really bad.
Okay, that's not a card I'm unhappy to see, but ultimately that secret is not one that I want to play. Although you might feel like you're forced to. I don't know.
Well, playing a secret buffs the Secret Keepers, so that's what's...
Oh man, competitive spirit's going to trigger as well. This is about to get really nasty.
In hindsight, it's just actually so nasty.
Yeah, it's the sickest opener. Oh, man.
Because I was like, maybe you don't need competitive spirit because it's not necessarily super impactful on the board if he gets a really big initiative. But, man, it's just nutty. What are you supposed to do?
Bring out your dead. I don't even know what you're supposed to do at this stage. It's
Coghammer.
That helps a lot.
Dude, Cifka is just done. He's smiling. He knows. He's like, all right, you got me.
I was taking notes, but I'm just going to scribble away and remove
Turn
everything.
3, 2 4/4s. This is not a Secret Paladin anymore. This is an Adventure Wing raid boss on heroic mode. It's like turn 3, summon 2 4/4s.
Yeah, sounds about right.
That Major Domo. It's like, no, stop it.
Get down. For what?
Cifka's so screwed. Okay, so what does he even do here? If you play Blessing of Kings, you
get a 6/6.
You're just going to get tempoed out. Okay.
All right, he's going to put an end to his misery, and his opponent gets a free win, basically. That was as good a win as you could
reaction
hope
from
for.
Lanshengzhe.
Pure cool.
Dang, man. He is nervous or worried or anxious.
He's like, I can't believe I got this. I'm going to get wrecked on the future RNG. Yeah.
And Cifka is... Yeah, he's handling it with the most class he possibly can, but he's got to take out the Zoo deck. Definitely can with the Paladin.
And the Reno Lock as well.
Reno Lock is always...
iffy, I guess.
A gamble. Your AoE is less consistent because you have, Twisting Nether. How much are you going to guarantee?
Somewhat relevant.
Yeah, you can't really guarantee turn 8. And not to mention the death battles and stuff. Shadow Flames and Hellfire.
Oh, that's a rough Secret Paladin start.
He always has the top of his deck.
Whoa, and Hansel Meccano says hi.
That is a Chinese tech.
I like it.
Because
I like
it. A lot of times they really like these super swingy cards. And Handsome Mechanic's one of those like Bloodlust cards where everyone's like really underestimating it until you just drop it and you're like, oh, holy crap.
Everything got Wind Fury.
3. Yeah, or just like everything got Taunt.
Yeah,
And
suddenly I can't win the race.
all of a sudden, like, I have to kill this Nerubian egg, and it's like, oh my god.
The Zoo has to be probably the best fit for that deck. I also saw a Secret Paladin playing that card, which was, I think, really interesting. Not sure how long it paid off for him, but this is an interesting spot. I mean, you want to play the Creeper, because if the Secret gets played, then you can smash it, and you get the knife hits.
Yep. Now, that Secret Keeper draw was so big because it gives Cifka just board presence, and well, before he drew that Consecration, there were a lot of cards he could have used there. Any 2-drop, any Secret.
Yeah.
And that's like a third of his deck right there.
Although I feel like the Coghammer into Consecration into Belcher, followed by probably something to playable on 6, will mean that he gets probably to Dr. Boom.
Sure.
But looking at this, though, it doesn't mean necessarily that he's going to be able to stabilize enough.
He has only 1 Consecration in his deck, as far as I know. I mean,
I imagine.
the reason why I say this is because of traditionalists being that way. Cifka running 2 Coghammers makes me believe he can do anything in this deck at that point.
At this point.
But having that 1 Consecration in the deck, assuming that's true, is huge. Because now he can keep Zoo accountable and not building the board too high. And that'll allow him to stabilize the board enough for maybe being able to push for a win later on.
Yeah, and this is exactly the spot that makes Coghammer awesome, is Zoo is trying to consider playing their Knife Juggler. They'll kill the 1/1 to get maximum value out of the board, but the Coghammer takes care of the Juggler, which means the Secret Keeper stays unharmed.
Yep, exactly. So this is going to be one of the easiest turn 3 plays that StanCifka will see all tournament long. Smashing the 3-2. I don't think you have to push against the bubble. I think you can just hit face here. Force your opponent to deal with it. And if he has the silence...
That you're happy about it, I guess. It's kind of a bad silence.
Yeah. I mean, you prefer your opponent never to have a good play against your board. But if you were to look at the silver lining, it's like, well, that's definitely one of the better targets to use Owl on, so that later on you can have bigger value instead.
Oh, wow. The curve from Cifka is getting absolutely nastier and nastier by the second. This is a Consecration turn if you want it. You can clear the entire board, I believe. Yep.
That
keep a 1/1.
That might be preferable, considering that you know Zoo is so good at building on the board.
Yeah.
But you also can...
Wow, 1 hit.
Man,
Nicely
good aim.
done. They actually put a little bit of Scotch tape just to indicate where to shoot on the screen.
I like the Consecration here. Sure, he's not killing more than 2 cards, right? But don't get too greedy with value, because
you got a Belcher
Zoo is such
backhand.
it's such a deck that snowballs because it compounds onto his existing board.
Implosion coming out. That's unfortunate. Comes out after the Consec, but that's a low roll.
That is such a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, you need these 1/1 tokens, so that way Power Overwhelming can like have impact, and then you can deal with more stuff onto the board.
And StanCifka's about to drop some pain on this Zoo. And this is as bad as it's gonna get.
Yeah, Shaman's needed that to be a 3 or higher. 3 or 4.
Yeah.
there's not much max range on that.
Right. Bran. All right. So we're talking Enhanced Mechano gets Brand up. That's pretty cool. I never really thought about that.
You get Mega Wind Fury.
This would be so sick.
Voltron Initiate. I don't know.
The imp becomes like a Mega Imp. I'd love to see something like this in the game. It's going to happen one day. So, Enhanced Mechano just terrible here. You kind of want to play Doomguard, but it's going to be only at 4 health, which doesn't do very much against a turn 6 Challenger dropped. So Lotheb looks consistent enough to me.
The thing about the Doomguard, like, you have to be aware of the Mysterious Challenge, so you want to hold on to these tokens. The Power Overwhelming, if you Power Overwhelming, then you're playing like Enhanced Mechano and hoping for Wind Fury or something. That's really bad as well.
Bran's also pretty horrible. I mean, I guess you could go Bran and Hero Power. I mean, and Power Overwhelming, but that really leaves you with, like, you can't even tap because you have to PO. You can't even... You can do very little with this, but it might be the only play that guarantees the Paladin can't play Challenger comfortably on 6.
Because the thing about the Lotheb is, one of the golden rules of Lotheb is you don't want to play it on a turn that your opponent's going to do something very obvious with minions.
Yeah.
Like an Alex Straza, for example, or in this case, a Mysterious Challenger. You play it maybe if you have no other choice, but he definitely had a choice. So he chooses to save Lotheb, but as such, he has an underdeveloped minion. He has a Brand Bronzebeard.
Wow, abusive with Enhanced Mechano. So that, like, there can be the Enhanced Mechano getting 2 triggers on 2 minions if you consider the abusive something you could taunt up or Divine Shield.
There's definitely room for some troll-tastic outcomes.
Absolutely. Like Wind Fury plus Divine Shield on Brand here would be pretty hilarious.
Or just Divine Shield taunt and everything.
Yeah, just absolutely everything.
Turn everything into Sunwalkers.
Yeah. The entire board consists of Sunwalker. I mean, Lotheb locks out spells, but that's no help.
Yeah, that one redemption, man. Be locked out. Sean's got to do something soon. I don't know if Lotheb's the best play here, but it is his best tempo play.
It is the best tempo, but for the sake of... Because Enhanced triggers twice. If you really want to get 2 minions buffed up, this might be fine.
I'm all for the idea that it's like, this is probably the best value you ever get off Enhanced Mechano.
Yeah.
Here we go, let's see.
But
it's just got to be Divine Shield taunt and everything.
Nobody knows that Wind Fury shows up, because if it does, then that Brand didn't get to do anything. I missed it.
Oh, sick!
He got it!
He got it!
Unbelievable.
Double Wind Fury on the
abusive
Sergeant.
A little unfortunate, but I guess Voltron.
That was the ultimate cool story bro look from StanCifka. It's like, yeah.
It's basically a guy playing Stone Skin Gargoyle, and he goes like Divine Spirit, and doesn't play Inner Fire. You're like, hoot hoot. Cool story, bro. A little to do here. Oh man, Cifka really has potential to push for a ton of damage if he wants to.
Yeah, it's worth evaluating if you should just face it with the Mysterious Challenger and reduce your opponent's life practically in half. But then you also wonder about the implications of leaving up a Wind Fury minion.
Yeah, you've seen one power overwhelming, so I guess you feel a little bit less iffy about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be something you worry about.
It's worth evaluating. Not for too long, though. Don't hurt your brain too much. You're a Secret Paladin player. Save your brain cells for the really complicated decisions.
Yeah, when you face off against another Secret Paladin.
That said, I feel like some Secret Paladins, we're just joking around, of course, but some Secret Paladins' turns this tournament have not been very obvious. In fact, Cifka was one of the players that had one. Yeah. Fancy stuff. Surrender, another player that really did some out-of-the-box thinking that was pretty cool. Now, taking a look at Shangzi, it looks like he's out of options. He can't even deal with both these threats really efficiently.
Flame Imp looks like a good option.
Yeah, to move on to Game 5, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But Doomguard has to not pitch the other Doomguard, and you have to hope your opponent doesn't have a follow-up threat, which he kind of does with the Pilot Shredder.
I mean, even in that case, all you can do is kill Boom, and you lose 2 minions, and...
Nah, he pitched the other Doomguard. That's... Yeah. He's going to trade into a minion here, and then push, but he needed that other Doomguard to survive, and then... he didn't have enough mana. Oops. Okay, I thought he was going to, get another Doomguard, and then have, Defender of Argus or something.
Oh, no, there was no way for this to happen. There's no lethal, for all that's worth.
I guess so, but is this really any way to live?
We're gonna be rich.
He does it, and he gets to see more cards from Cifka.
Yeah. I have seen Reno Zoo, by the way. It's pretty interesting to see.
It's worth debating. Should he reveal the tech, the Enhanced Mechano? Because you're in a really bad position. Maybe it's worth saving that so that Cifka gets surprised more from it.
That's actually a good point. I didn't consider it because that card did not show up earlier. In the games that we saw. So Cifka wouldn't have known that it's there, but now that he has the info.
Yeah, that was the first time we saw of it. It's something that's in the back of your mind. If you follow a lot of the Chinese Zoo meta, they do love that card. But at the same time, you weren't going to win that game
with Enhanso.
You needed to get a very good roll on both those minions to have even a modicum of a chance to win that game. So...
Whoa! All right.
Something to be said.
Cifka here, the MC Tech, and that Reno lock.
Yeah, MC Tech's pretty big. Implosion's not bad either if you can get a pretty good roll. You just want to get the early game cards. The ideal start is Zombie Chow. Zombie Chow, Peddler.
Yeah, anything that you can play that gives you continued pressure. Now, Flame Imp here looks like a big problem, and it is, if it keeps snowballing, but as long as the minion count... Oh, hi.
Ah, yes. How could I ever forget?
Fell Cannon. I mean, the Soulfire is a really nice addition, too, or a weird addition that I'm liking more and more, just because you need to get it from Peddler in some cases, and you rarely need all your cards as Reno Log, aside from Marino. Sometimes you can throw some stuff in the mid-game. It's useless.
And with that 0-2 egg, Fell Cannon feels more of a liability than anything else. Cifka's going to tap once again. Imp Gang Boss, if only he drew that instead of Sylvanas and had it flipped, would have been a much better board state. And as such, this gives Shaman another opening to get another attack in.
If he goes for the 4-minion play, that means StanCifka gets a good MC Tech. If we see Direwolf Alpha plus Abusive, there's a possibility that comes out, and then suddenly MC Tech gets something, and then you can even coil the Abusive afterwards if you're not stealing it. Interesting
so I guess
position.
the best case scenario is to steal the Direwolf?
I'd take the egg just so I can actually do what I want.
Okay.
With fair. AoE, but I guess anything is good.
That makes the most sense. So he's playing around mind control tech. I like it.
Yeah, well done. And now it looks like the Implosion is going to have to come out on the Wolf. I think it kind of has to roll 3 or higher to be even relevant. Okay.
3 or higher, you say?
Yeah, sorry about that. The or higher wasn't a necessity, but it does make the board from StanCifka very resilient here. Wow.
Fight fire with fire.
Yeah. Imps with imps.
I say.
Yeah. I think
you have 2 implosions, so it gets clunky. Would you... Nah, you wouldn't. Would you implosion your own egg?
I was thinking about doing it earlier. The thing is, you haven't seen any AoE, and it does die to Demon Wrath, unlike the demons that you have, so... It's kind of a weird call to make. And this really gives Cifka a good MC Tech, which he didn't have prior to this.
Yep, so 50-50 to grab a minion of pretty decent value here.
Yep. Denying the egg is just as good as, like, silencing it.
Oh.
Well, he does get an imp. That's pretty cool. Everybody likes imps. Soulfire is good against Nerubians, by the way. I actually, we didn't mention this really, but it is a pretty big deal. And Zombie Chow also comes out to help reinforce this board.
Alexstrasza, not too bad of a card to draw for the later stage of the game. So I guess Cifka is starting to really piece together a decent hand here. And where is Shangzhe's finishers? He's got all of his board builders, but he's really lacking in firepower right now.
And let's see if the Implosion rolls high or not at all. Yes, 4 it is. All right.
I mean, 4 is nice, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as it was if he had other minions on the board, like jugglers and another, like the Flame Imp survive.
Anything really.
Because right now, Cifka can still, like, I don't know. I feel like he's not under true threat.
And right now it looks like the eggs are trying to protect the board from a potential AoE, which is a great idea.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
That's a big time draw.
Yeah, that's a crazy draw from StanCifka, but there's no reason to do anything other than this. I mean, I guess there's an argument for...
No, there's an argument for Sylvanas.
For Sylvanas instead of Emperor, just because it actually contests the board a lot nicer. You haven't seen POs either. So you do get worried a little bit about Doomguards coming out with Power Overwhelmings.
Okay. So he doesn't have any AoE, so Sylvanas has to control the state of the board. That's fine. He's saying that Emperor Thorson, it's not going to be one of those games where he can get value off of it and expect to survive. So he's playing the least greedy as possible.
Yeah, and if he plays it on 7, then Alexstrasza comes right afterwards on 8, instead of playing it a turn too early or earlier than he has to. If the intent is to get Alexstrasza out, then playing it next turn or now, it doesn't really change anything.
Well, I think the intent is to play Dr. Boom next turn. And he's got many options as the game develops, right, to get there. And ultimately, Alex might not even be needed to. You know, he might even just push onto the board and might need something else. Like, maybe he's killing his opponent by then.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Shangzhe has got...
15 is quite a bit of damage, though. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got 2 power on the board. Like, when your opponent has to do 8 damage, that's when you're like, okay, maybe the power overwhelming Doomguard.
Oof, all right.
Some of that 8 to 10 range, but
even less damage being dealt to StanCifka here. And the Owl's coming out. So how much damage is there on the board? We're looking at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8. So right now StanCifka's dead to Doomguard.
Now we're talking, and that Defender of Argus onto the eggs is providing quite the headache, because Cifka can't easily pick off the proper trades here.
Would you ever go for something like Emperor Soulfire on the 2/3 to not die to Doomguard? And if Alex goes, then you go, but...
maybe Lotheb and Dark Bomb accomplish the same thing.
But you don't get to play Alex next turn, which I suspect at this stage you will need.
The very interesting thing is that even if you play Alex, the board might be big enough that it doesn't matter. You might die from 15 anyways.
Okay.
So I assume that that's not really a priority of Cifka. Crowd's really into it, man. It's midnight here, and they are absolutely fanatical about Hearthstone.
So
it's
what's happening
awesome.
here then? Does the Nerubian die to Soulfire? I imagine so.
Here we
And
go.
it does. Alexstrasza leaving will probably hurt a little bit. Dark Bomb is also
pretty average result.
It hurts a little bit.
5, 7, 9. He is 4 damage off, and
That's not it.
can he tap into it?
He probably could. There's 2 POs and a Doomguard in that deck. Not it either.
Not it.
Ouch. That feels horrible. Yeah, that has to feel pretty bad though.
So, because you see the Thorson, do you feel like you have to kill it off? Because if you don't kill it off and your opponent somehow stabilizes, you feel really bad, because the Thorson reduce another sweep.
Yeah, and I think the big question is, would StanCifka have been greedy enough not to play Reno in that spot if he had it?
Right.
Does he have heal bots? Like, what is StanCifka holding? We know he doesn't have any healing at the moment aside from in Alexstrasza.
Sure.
But I think the Zoo player needs to try to consider how likely it is that he can push for that last bit of damage.
Well, M-Gang Boss and Flame Imp fills out the curve here, and I feel like you just want to put your strongest minions on board as well. But he's trying to be resistant to AoE, so Haunted Creeper is his choice.
I mean, he's been playing around AoE for the entire game at this stage, but StanCifka has neither had heals nor AoE up until now. This is a decent pickup.
Whoa,
Dr.
wait,
Boom.
what?
What?
Is that a really good draw? Like, if you play Lotheb, M-Gang Boss,
and taunt up? Yeah, I think it's fine.
That puts 9 points of taunt onto the board.
Yeah.
You're at 18. Your opponent can't play spells. Your opponent has 6.
Yeah, the Boombot is actually a lot
10
worse.
damage.
Taunting up,
So
sadly.
he has to generate 9 off 8 mana. Yeah, I think that would keep you safe.
You've seen the Owl as well, so there's no way that somehow that gets pushed past.
Okay, so he's going to taunt up the Boom instead. It's also fine.
And the Boombot is going to be able to not only tank up 1 damage, but also kill something, possibly.
It's true.
On this board, it's likely even that it does.
1 less health point, which is fine.
Oh!
Oh, man.
One,
the tap
two,
for the
three.
Doomguard for the punish.
That would be sick.
Is that lethal then?
So you
6,
Doomguard.
7, 10. That's 19 if he gets it.
Ren is not the Doomguard he's looking for. I think he was looking for like an Enhanced Meccano on the stage, like on this board.
Oh, yeah,
that would have
you're
been
right.
so sick.
Oh, my God. Enhanced Meccano.
This would have been beautiful.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts.
This is like
The Wind Fury is
The
the song of my
imp attacking
people. So he's just going to crash in, trade. Hopefully this Boombot doesn't do too much damage to his board.
And kills the imp. Oof. He can't attack, so...
Okay, I guess. He
Not
didn't
too
lose like a
bad for now.
2-3. So
Yeah, and StanCifka's worried about the second PO or Doomguard, or
Yep.
even the Dark Bomb, for hell's sake. But it's not there, and he's going to be able to Alex himself, which is very relevant in this spot.
extremely relevant in this case. It's a
Yeah.
10 heal that summons an 8/8.
Goodbye, Defender.
Whoa.
You're not defending much anymore.
That's really big too.
Yeah.
Like they shut that down.
Yeah, we're Alexing anyway. Sorry, dude. I love you,
Yeah,
Nether,
you're
but
still dead to a Doomguard. You know your opponent doesn't have it because he would have most likely played the Doomguard if he drew it with the Power of Overwhelming.
It's still a
But
scary
you're
thought,
asking to
though.
get punished with that kind of play.
You know what would be absolutely sick? Like an enhanced Mechano off the top with like
Wind
3
Fury.
minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes left. Like StanCifka might just, yeah, he'll kill a 4/4 and maybe the 2/1. But still, that's a crazy.
You think you want to kill off the 4/4?
I think I trade Sylvanas. If I'm gonna Alex, I think I would, just because.
You leave 6 power on the board if you kill the Imp Gang boss and you keep Sylvanas. That might not be bad either.
Yeah, maybe keeping Sylvanas is better. I don't know.
Keeping Sylvanas is decent pressure because your opponent only has 1/1 tokens to trade into it.
I guess so, yeah. He has to trade 1 attack minions into your Sylvanas.
Yeah, but you do also reduce the most power by trading onto the 4/4. So that might not be too bad of an option.
And you've seen Enhanso, right? Like, the more minions you remove from this board, the better off you'll be.
Yeah.
So, he's considering it, though, and it's
I'm
worth
fine
considering.
either way.
Yeah.
I
Both
can
plays
completely
can be
understand why he would trade into the 4/4 to avoid damage. If he wants to go for the value greedy play, he could get punished by stuff like that, you know,
Yeah.
like the extra damage. And he taps into the enhance, so he doesn't have enough mana to do that. He would
Still,
only
a PO
have,
top deck
7.
would be pretty sick if you think about it. Like another PO.
Just 1 turn away from being able to end the game. He's close though.
Yeah, the thing is, he's afraid of Reno. He doesn't know it's not there.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can go all in on this board yet. Also, there is an Alex Straza that happens to be knocking on your doorstep.
I feel like an 8/8 is a pretty big minion. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not an expert
and
in
you know,
big minion mechanics.
she's got
but
a mean breath. I mean, Alex Straza.
She big.
You don't want to smell her coffee breath if that's what us does, you know.
Oh, hi.
My God!
So you can kill the spider, twisting nether and giant, and even on the back of that play the M-Gang boss for 2, which keeps you safe from everything but Doomguard into Doomguard, if that's even remotely like possible, which it's not. So yeah, I think I like that. The thing is, do you sacrifice Alex? My thought is yes.
Yeah, you know, that's not too bad. Like, in the end, your quality of minions is really good, and I don't think Zoo is really truly putting you on a clock. So I think you do trade Alex. I think he can life tap as well, but he has freedom to play M-Gang boss, so maybe M-Gang boss and
I mean, life tap is
better.
Doomguard PO.
Damn!
You could get runner
Look
kill.
at that twisting nether animation. Every time I look at it, man, it's sick. It's
You don't
awesome.
see. I'm so happy that the card's finally seeing any play, right? Like, it used to be the case that card was essentially just.
Yeah. That card
Didn't
is
exist.
dank.
Oh man, what's coming out here?
No, it's
Not
not
much.
good.
More imps.
And he taps.
Into another Doomguard. Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Okay, that is not good
no.
for Stan.
Sifka is not going to do anything. I
The
think
thing is, what happens here is that you have to tap because
taps.
nothing kills you. Oh! Unbelievable owl. Let's just call it.
Oh, yeah.
We need an owl to come out here.
Yeah, that's so funny. Now, did he use an owl already?
Wait,
on
and
the
Hansel
Sylvanas?
Mechano could give it Wind Fury, right?
Yeah, but he couldn't get through
Yeah,
both
he couldn't,
taunts.
that's right. He would have to go. Well, the thing is, like, you'd have to silence this guy first.
Felcan, he doesn't even want to play it because he doesn't want to attack his own taunt minion, right?
He doesn't want to do anything, but it does set up a lethal if you play it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, so you might be inclined to. It kills an imp. Maybe you don't kill him, but
8, 10. No, it doesn't It doesn't set up a lethal.
well, you can't. He can't tap, right?
8, 12, 13, 16. Oh, so you're saying that he will tap into it.
Right.
But then
well,
he-
I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't tap into it, but my thought is
Okay.
you're preventing him from life tapping.
He's going to
unless he
shoot one of
has-
his 1/1s, isn't he?
No!
Oh.
That's fine, right? Tell me that's fine.
Well,
Tell me-
now you're right, but if he plays, if he taps, he can also play Doomguard to kill off the 3 attacks, so he's still alive.
Right.
But
So
it's-
he's not.
I mean,
he's not technically
he is
dead. but-
barely alive, and that Sludge Belcher couldn't have come at a more opportune moment.
Yeah, I guess Reno would have also done the job, you know. Heal bot. there's a few cards in that deck that haven't come out that ought to come out at some point. Actually, yeah, it's kind of weird how StanCifka got 0 AOE and 0 healing so far.
Okay.
Aside from Alex.
Is there any combination? Like, he doesn't have a second owl, does he?
I think
he already
might.
used one though.
Ah, that helps. That's pretty okay. You can play your entire hand
Stall?
and get the 5 attack minion
Yeah.
to stick.
And that means Sifka is potentially on a draw to win if he can get some kind of damage going from his hand.
I mean, he could draw to win. He could draw to heal. Is that a draw to win? Because you attack the Void Caller
Would you
with the
tap?
1/2.
Tap to 1.
Juggler wrecks you.
Yeah, you don't want to get juggled, right?
So you have 8, 11, 12, 13. You've only got 13 damage, even if you use the Demon Rat. And then the Juggler might pose a problem.
I don't think there's any reason to tap. So you kill this off,
Yeah,
kill
you
the
just
Doom
play it
Guard.
super safe, and you don't worry too much about.
Definitely trade the Fel Cannon, and you're asking to get majorly punished here.
And the good thing is the Creeper here cannot spawn knives.
Oh, wait. Does he still have he still has Manhandsome Mechano, right?
There is an Handsome Mechano.
So what if he gets a buff and a Manhandsome Mechano?
He doesn't have any more buffs. He's got PO. That's about it, though. Oh!
No, it's a buff.
Oh my God! No, that's only 2 damage.
It's only
though.
2 damage.
Doesn't matter. That's a Peddler. Oh my God! Peddler!
The Dream!
No.
The Soulfire!
No!
Whoa! He gets it! Oh my goodness!
His life was on. This is a 3-way tie, Frodan. Unbelievable.
What the hell did I just watch?
I don't even know. A Reno lock without Reno and Healbots. That's what you watched. No refreshment vendor came up either. That was... They're talking about it.
I have no words, man.
Yeah, that was sick.
Unbelievable.
It was a great match, though.
Unbelievable, to say the least. And I have no idea. I don't think StanCifka... I think there's a part of his brain missing because he shouldn't be smiling at this point.
He always is, though.
He shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But he is. Because he's a mature, experienced player.
That played a lot of Magic.
There it is, man. Lanshengzhe is the winner of that match. Extremely relieved because he is guaranteed a top 3 spot because he's won 2 series, I believe.
Right, I think Jab is... Is he the one who's out because he's losing?
Cifka and Jab are both 1-2,
Yeah.
and then Surrender and Lanshengzhe are both 2-1. So them two are guaranteed, and I think because Cifka has a better game score than Jab, he actually advances.
Yeah, there's a head-to-head thing to keep in mind as well. They told us that this will be taken in mind as well. Cifka with a smile on the face.
Why is he smiling?
It's just the way he copes with you know, there's a condition.
The check are weird, man.
You know that there's a condition that makes you smile when you're actually feeling very angry or in pain.
So that was a
there's a medical
that was
condition
a
that
defense
does that.
mechanism. That was a coping mechanism.
Not even. It's just a brain disorder.
Wow. Cifka, I was teasing.
I love Cifka.
This is the line, and you just went over it. But it's okay.
I love the guy,
we're just having fun. We're off the cuff
I just hope
here.
he doesn't get knocked out. I mean, I don't even know what it's going to come down to right now. But Cifka having won the first one and getting here, by the bare amount, like the biggest amount of luck that he could have to just get in.
He's not even supposed to be here.
Yeah, it's like
Cifka got here because Amaz didn't show up. So, Cifka being able to get to the top 6, a great achievement as well. So, really fun games all around. Wouldn't want any other way, going to Game 5 in the last series of the day. And as you can see, Cifka, with his performance, gets a date with Cypher in the top 6. Dog will play Surrender, and Lanshengzhe, with that victory, is in first place, kicking out the American player, Justin A. Black,
so it's
a.k.a.
good to see that we have a Chinese player in the semifinals at the very least.
Yep.
So it's not going to come down to a quote-unquote full Western plus Surrender, which is always in the Western scene these days, I feel. Almost could be a Westerner for all we know him.
That's right, man. So we had a lot of fun, but tomorrow we're going to have 5 more matches to conclude the StarLadder finals. Thank you so much for everybody to tune in and watch. Noxious, do you have any final words to close out the day here?
No, I mean, thanks for watching. Thanks for the production team as well for doing the good job they're doing. I feel like everything's been super smooth these past 2 days.
Yeah, I know they've been good. Shout out to the crowd, too. They stick around here till 1 a.m. in the morning, all the way here from like 4 p.m. They've been here for the entire day, and they love every moment of it. So it's been awesome. It's been real, and it's been fun. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and see you guys tomorrow for the grand finals of the StarLadder Series I-League Grand Tournament. So we'll see you guys next time.